to get from Brooklyn to here, you took Southern State Parkway to the end. At that point, the end was exit 41. Bayshore Road went up to Deer Park and then down into Bayshore. Then you'd get on to Sunrise Highway, which had traffic lights at that point. There was a traffic light at what we call the Oakdale Merge now, where Montauk intersected Sunrise. You could actually cross over Sunrise Highway to go west onto Sunrise, but you had to stop at the light. And then I think the next one may have been Locust Avenue, but you did have Sycamore and Ocean crossing Sunrise Highway at that point.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get back to me getting out to Oakdale. You come onto Sunrise Highway, you get to what we know now as the Oakdale Merge. You go over the train trestle or train bridge, and you proceed into town. The gas station that's on the left was there then. You had Bronco Charlie's on the right-hand side, which is an open lot now. Menino's was the Oakdale Terrace at that point. The Vanderbilt Garage, which is, I believe, still there, that was the other gas station. At Vanderbilt Boulevard, and this was gorgeous, you had the gatehouse, which is still there, and across from the gatehouse was this. Now remember, I was in second grade, I wasn't the 6-footer that I am now. This big brick wall with wrought iron fencing on the top, and in front of it, there was a well. A well that had wrought iron going up like this so that you could put the pulley there and draw water. It wasn't functioning at that point, but you could see what was there. I'm not sure if it's the same well that's in front of Dowling on the corner there or not.
I believe it is. I think I heard that, but I'd have to check that.
Okay.
And that was where the 7-Eleven is?
That's where the
Or you
7-Eleven
saw
is
that
now.
when you first...
Right. And then one thing that is constant from back in the day too, and it's always been in good hands, the Idle Hour Deli. You proceed a little further down, you've got that stand where they sell the farm goods. That was there at the
Cloths.
time. And the sporting goods store that's there now, that was the Oakdale Trading Post. And what did they use? They had surplus military stuff that they sold from there. It's burned since, but right across the street from that, it's a lot that people have been trying to figure out what they want to do with it for ages. There was this big red building, wood, looked like it could have been a restaurant or a hotel of sorts. It was that big. And then you've got the railroad station, Artie Prem's gas station, and then you didn't have much on the left-hand side except for, and I may have the words wrong on this, the Stirrup Cup Lodge. or
Castle?
Yes.
Was it the Stirrup Cup Castle? Or? I know what you're talking about. It was a restaurant.
It was a restaurant, and it looked like it was nice, but
Right.
when I first saw it, it had burned down. So all you saw was the skeleton left there, and eventually they got to cleaning it out. The fire department was not there. Then you get to the Oakdale Public School. a few houses on the opposite, well, on both sides. All of those houses that come before the shopping center, they were all there at the time, except for that south turn off of Montauk before LaSalle Military Academy. That was after I came in.
Is that like Canterbury? Maybe, yeah.
Could be.
There were greenhouses, or there was a greenhouse?
The greenhouse was next to the gas station that sits there now.
Right.
You had the house out front,
Right.
and the greenhouse houses all over the place. That was one of them in Oakdale.
There you go.
There's another one that was up by the farm where the big windmill was back in the day.
There was one there. That's Locust, is that?
If you go up Locust
Right,
and you get to the train track,
right.
before
Oh, I know.
you get to the track, they had a service road, and you could travel along the South Service Road. It's probably West Sable,
Right.
in that part of the area. They had a greenhouse over in that corner of
Right.
the farm's property. It wasn't part of the farm. But getting back to going to my street. Okay, you've got the gas station there, and then LaSalle Military Academy on the right-hand side, which is now St. John's University. That shopping center did not exist when we moved in '56. It was a field. It was an ugly-looking field. It had grasses growing up and sand and rocks, and eventually it came to, like you said, LaSalle is over here, Burrard Boulevard goes up. That was the other development that was progressing as mine was when we moved in. That, Gramercy Gardens, where I grew up, and north of the tracks on Locust Avenue was the third development. Oakdale has got a caste system, sort of. The old-timers who've been here forever refer to us as the development people. And we wear the proud badge of being development people. We don't look at that as being stigmatic. But we'll get to continuing on. There was the development going up Burrard. Then you had the old church, which has been here forever, so we can't ignore that. And then you get to that major intersection of Locust Avenue and Brook Street and Montauk Highway. There was no light there then.
Ooh. There's probably no traffic either.
There was no traffic. On that corner where the medical arts building is now, you have houses behind that. On the Brook Street side was the split level. That was the model house for Gramercy Gardens and the identical house to the one I grew up in. My brother is still there, so we still have roots in the family. You go up Brook Street, you have an older development on the right-hand side, which is basically small capes and small ranch houses on smaller property than we had. One thing that I thought was interesting about that development, not so much that development, but that strip of Brook Street, they had sidewalks. You could walk on the sidewalk. Growing up in Brooklyn, sidewalks are a given. You come out here, you move into a development that you're walking in the street. Like you said, there isn't a whole lot of traffic back then. Okay. You have the older development on the south side of Brook, and then you have my development on the left side. The first crossroad is Dale Drive. You can go south to Montauk Highway, and that is the other older community within Oakdale. Those weren't development houses, and you go down there, you say, nothing looks the same there. I had a few of my classmates who lived on that block, and then I was up on the other one. So you turn left onto Dale Drive to go into the development, and the fourth house on the right was 107, where I grew up. When we pulled on, they were still in the process of putting together the development. They hadn't gotten around to paving the roads. The bumps were amusing for a child of my age at
Rocky
that
road
time.
home.
I'm sure my parents are saying, how much did I pay for this car and what can I get for it now? Whenever relatives from Brooklyn would come out to meet us or visit, we tell them, when you turn on, look out for the bumps. You're not going to go down there at 20 miles an hour. You're going to be crawling down the road because of the bumps.
No, this is Dale?
Dale Drive.
Dale Drive.
Yeah. And much of the rest of the community, I take that back.
It was Dale then, right? 'Cause
It was
wasn't
Dale
like
then.
Before it was Chicken Street. it
Chicken
was on the
Street
same
and West
time.
Street,
Okay,
right.
but it
We
was
found that
Dale
out
and-
from the old timers who'd been around for a while. We mentioned Dale Drive. Oh yeah, Chicken Street, West Street. And I'm guessing that Chicken Street came from the farm that was at the end of it.
Was that a farm there when you were there?
The farm was operational
Oh.
when we were there. What it was operating as, I'm not entirely sure. I know there were cattle on the fields, mostly west of Dale toward Locust.
All right.
But the thing that we knew mostly about the farm is the town used it as a dog pound. And you could hear the dogs barking all night long. Thank you very much. And the other thing that comes
That's
from
right.
living there, of course, you're that close to the railroad tracks and you hear the trains going by every time they
Yeah.
toot the whistle.
So it wasn't a quiet country place?
No, it wasn't a quiet country place, but it was nice.